Welcome back to ThoughtCast, the video game podcast. My name's John.
I'm Allie.
And we are here and ready and raring to go for Season 2.
Season 2?
Whoa!
What does that mean?
I think it means a lot of things. You get more of us, primarily, so I'm sorry. Thank you for listening. But also, this season, we're going to be having a lot more guests.
Ooh, like game devs and content creators and people in the video game space?
All of the above.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah, we want to bring on people who we think are interesting and that we just enjoy talking to or want to learn more about so that we can kind of see the world and the gaming sphere kind of from their perspective. Because you've heard a lot from us. You know, if you've heard Season 1, I think you get the gist of what we're about.
You know every single game that I've ever played.
Yeah. And so adding in some spice, adding in some flavor, I think I'm really excited about it. We have a lot of really spectacular guests already lined up. So make sure to stay tuned moving forward. But for this episode, we did just kind of want to focus on kind of us and our journey as a couple, first and foremost. If you're not familiar, we're married.
Yeah, cute. For like, what, 2 years?
A little bit over 2 years and almost together for 8.
Yeah, cute.
So I feel like video games have had a really big impact on our relationship in a lot of ways, in a lot of the milestones. And so I figured that's kind of what we can do today, is just go through those milestones and how video games have kind of crept their weird little heads into those milestones.
What an interesting way to word that.
Well, yeah. So, how about just starting out? How did we meet?
Oh my gosh, you want me to talk about... I could talk about this for 8 years. Let's go. Okay, 8-year-long podcast.
Yeah.
So we met. Are we talking about the real way we met? Because I am ready for that.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, we can go with the real way we met.
Oh my gosh. Sometimes John likes to tell a boiled down story version of it because he thinks it's embarrassing. He can't handle how soft his heart is.
Shut up. No, but it's Season 2. This is raw. This is real.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So intense.
Yeah.
Okay. So we met because I joined a Facebook group because I was about to go off to college.
Yes.
And on said college page, people were listing out every single thing that's interesting about them, trying to get new roommates, you know, and be like, hey, do you want to be my roommate? Do you want to be my roommate? Here's everything about me. If you are compatible with me, then we can room together. And I was like, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
So I go ahead and I write out my list. I'm like, I like video games. I like Zelda. You know, my profile picture at the time was me wearing a little Ash Ketchum hat. Pretty cute.
Yes.
And someone saw it. An unintended audience. I was not looking for your approval.
Okay. I saw it. I was just kind of on the page, just scrolling, reading through the post, seeing like who was like coming into the university. And I see your post and I'm like, you know, when you see a profile picture and you're just like, who is this? And I saw the signature like check mark or whatever on the OG Ash Ketchum hat. And I was like, Legend of Zelda, like, who is this? Allie. And so I click on your profile and I was like, this is a pretty girl who likes these things that I like very much.
Yeah.
And I kind of left it there, you know? I took note. I was like, okay, pretty girl. That it's likely that this will never materialize into anything, but that is something that I have noticed.
And so then something that our college always does is they have, I feel like every college has an orientation week where it's just get everyone accustomed to the campus. And they ended up having this one event and everybody, it was like the day before classes started. And so everyone went. It wasn't just freshmen.
No, yeah, it wasn't like everyone, freshman, senior, non-traditional students, everyone was at this big kind of kick off the semester event, right? And so you know for a fact that you will run into everyone pretty much. Or there's a chance that you will be able to. You know, not everyone has to go, but like pretty much everyone did. And so I was like, you know, I had this filed away in the back of my head, you know, pretty girl likes Zelda, likes Pokemon. Why not wear a pretty innocuous nerd shirt, you know, something that only people who would like Zelda are familiar with. So I, you know, threw on my Majora's Mask t-shirt and I just kind of went to the event with my friends, not thinking that anything would happen, but I would be, you know, ready to strike up it was a conversation starter if by some miracle I did bump into you. Because there were a lot of people there. There were hundreds of people there.
Oh, yeah. And there were so many people, and yet I still caught you in the crowd. He used the shirt as a conversation starter if he were to bump into me.
Yeah.
However, he was not anticipating that I would see him in the crowd and be like, oh, Majora's Mask shirt. You know, I do have a thing where I always compliment people who are wearing Zelda shirts, and that's like a thing I always do.
Yeah.
So I should definitely go do that. Also, like, pro tip, wear nerdy shirts when you go to theme parks because it has helped me a lot. It's totally off topic, but like I got to cut lines at Disney. It was pretty sick.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I forget what coaster it was, but I was in line for a coaster and they were going to let people this was in the times of Fast Pass.
Yeah.
They were going to let people with the Fast Pass on. They were like, no, hold them. Hey, Zelda shirt, come here, get on the ride.
That's sick. That has to be against Disney policy.
Oh, it has to be. Sorry, employee, but it was like a long time ago.
100%. That's so crazy. I feel like also if you're bored at an amusement park or like you're not going with a group of people you necessarily know that well, if you wear a nerd shirt, someone in line at some point is going to strike up a conversation with you about those shirts.
Yeah. Oh, I was in Magic Kingdom that day, and I remember that because I also bought a snow globe, and I got a discount on the snow globe because the person also liked my Zelda shirt.
No, you're kidding.
I'm not kidding.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
So, note to self, to gamify Disney World.
Yeah.
Just wear a Zelda shirt.
But yeah, and so I always liked how people gave me special treatment when I would wear nerdy shirts. So I have to make sure I go compliment people when I see them wearing theirs.
Yeah.
And so I had to go up to you and comment on your shirt.
Yeah. And I never anticipated that you would say something to me. And I'll be fully transparent. If you had not, even if I had seen you, which I didn't before you, like, pulled me to the side, I didn't see you. Even if I had, I don't think I would have been bold enough to introduce myself. I think it just would have washed away.
This is new information for me. I didn't know this.
Oh, I was a coward. No, yeah.
Aw.
Yeah. So you initiating that conversation, I was like, how fortuitous.
You're lucky I'm bold.
Yeah. I'm glad that you were the bold one of the two of us. And so you pulled me to the side and I was just like processing. I was like, what's happening? This isn't happening. And I feel like your friends were like, who's she talking to? And my friends were like, who's he talking to?
Wait, no, that's not what happened. Okay, first of all, I was a freshman, so to say I had friends was very bold.
You were, like, with people.
I was with my roommate, who is my friend, to be very clear. She is my friend, and she was at the time, but, like, we just met, you know?
Yeah. No, it was, like, fresh, and so... But it was, like, your circle.
Yeah.
At the time.
It was extra funny because after I was done talking to you, I went up to her and, we had her on the podcast before, Beth.
Yes, yeah, Beth.
Back in season 1.
So check it out. She's fantastic.
Yes. I went up to her and she was like, did you see that there's a guy wearing a Majora's Mask shirt? And I said, yeah, I talked to him. He's really excited about life. He's too happy for me. And I didn't know that it was just because you were so jazzed that I went up and talked to you because you already knew who I was from my Facebook post.
Well, okay, 2 sides to this. Yes, I was excited that you were talking to me, and that did play a part in it. But I feel like I'm just like that in public spaces, to be fair.
You're just a golden retriever boy who thrives off of all of the extroverted energy.
I need to be around people as much as possible. So if there's a big crowd of people, I feel like my energy level just like cranks up to 12.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, my extroverted energy mixed with you talking to me, which is something that was like, maybe this will happen, but it won't. I was just like, hey, how's it going? Yeah, I love Majora's Mask. What dungeon did you make it to? Or something stupid. Like, something super cringy.
I go, I tried to play it. It wasn't good. I watched Chugga Conroy play it.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
And at the time, didn't know who that was. And then I think that was pretty much the end of the conversation. I like introduced myself and I was like, have a good time at the, for the rest of the fair. And then we parted ways and did not speak for several weeks.
I don't know. It wasn't several.
It was like 2.
No, it was like a week.
Was it a week?
Yeah.
It felt like an eternity.
Oh, well, that's what happened.
Yeah.
It might have been, okay, I'll give you 2 weeks. It
was like mid-September, like first week or 2 of September until we spoke again. Because it was like after Labor Day.
Oh, okay. I'll give you that.
Then I remember like crossing paths with you on campus and just being like, hey, we met at the beginning of the semester fair. I was wearing the Majora's Mask shirt. I'm in the I was in the water temple, like the Majora's Mask water temple, because I was actively playing the game at the time, like completely unrelated. But I had just never like actually beaten it before. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, it's brutal. And you were like, oh yeah.
Yeah, that one's hard.
Yeah. And then we parted ways once again.
Like, I remember that conversation. I was like, I didn't play that far. I remember watching a walkthrough of it.
Yeah. I didn't actually get your number till I saw you you were working in the library.
Yeah, I got a job in the library, like, pretty much right away. Like, I mean, before classes even started, I went in and applied.
Yeah.
That's how fast it happened. And they have this kind of, like, activity, join clubs kind of event on campus. And that was the day that I had my interview. And that's really early on in the semester, which is why I was like, oh, it couldn't have been that late.
Yeah.
So I had gotten a job at the library very, very quickly. And I was sitting in the library and then you appeared. You wanted books.
Yeah, because I lived in the library, I feel, in college.
Yeah. So smart, so studious.
Oh. No, it's just because I can't focus anywhere else. And if I was in the same room as my roommate, I know we would just play video games together or talk about video games or watch stupid movies. Like, I just could not be in my dorm with my roommate. Because, like, we're good friends. He's the best man at our wedding. Like, we just got on too well, I think.
Yeah.
And I knew I would never get anything done. So I defaulted to the library as, like, they have those, like, little desks with the cubbies to study in. And then I see you at the desk and I was like, I need a book. Good opportunity to talk.
Then you cornered me.
Okay.
I was stuck at the desk and you just wrapped me into conversation. You knew I couldn't leave.
Okay, that's excessive. That is so excessive in revisionist history. I was getting a textbook and we struck up a conversation. It was 50-50. Don't give me that.
No, you were very nice.
Yeah.
I remember you showed me a phone background. That's all I remember. You were like very into phone backgrounds at the time. It was something nerdy.
At the time.
Okay, forever. You're always into phone backgrounds.
I have a rotating, like, because you can have presets on your iPhone now.
Yeah.
It's just depending on what my mood, I change the preset. Right now, it's still the Ultra Hand Tears of the Kingdom, but if I wanted to change it to One Piece, I could.
At a moment's notice.
I could if I'm really feeling like having the Straw Hat logo as my background, I could.
At any moment.
So no, that feels on brand for me. I think it was probably Breath of the Wild-esque.
Oh no, it wasn't. Breath of the Wild wasn't out yet.
Oh yeah. It might have been like art, like predating, because there had been trailers at the time. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably Zelda something. Because I was like, I know she likes this, so let me show this. And then we talked about like music and stuff like that. And ultimately, we we decided to go get frozen yogurt.
Yeah, we did. First date.
Ooh.
So cute. And then, I don't know, it just kind of all went from there.
Yeah.
I feel like that's when the story's just like, yeah, and then we started dating.
Yeah. And then a couple weeks later we started dating, and I can't remember if this was before or after we officially started dating, but we were hanging out in my dorm room with my roommates, because it was like a situation where it was me and my roommate, and then we had like a door in between our room and a friend's room that you could just like open up or close at any time. It's kind of similar to like in a hotel, like when you get like rooms that are conjoined together in like a hotel, like kind of that kind of vibe. And we could just open it up. And so all my roommates were in the room, and I was playing Dark Souls when you came over, which, if you know anything about my game taste, Dark Souls is a really out of left field choice for me to play. And I remember us just kind of like sitting there. You don't really remember this, do you?
I just remember you fighting a boss, and I think it was like a moth thing.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was really pretty, and that was it.
Yes. No. On point.
Oh, and you died a lot.
Yes, I'm very bad at Dark Souls. And so, like, me playing Dark Souls, because we were just, like, hanging out, like, chilling, like, you were getting to know my roommates and, like, me, and, like, it was just, like, whatever. You sitting through me playing Dark Souls and just, like, being content and getting on well with my friends and, like, everything like that, and just, like, fitting in perfectly. Because I feel like, for me, that was, like, a big thing that was important to me, is that, like, my friends dug my partner, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And so when it was just jiving so well, I was like, this is great. Because like Dark Souls, some people would likely disagree. A lot of people would likely disagree. I think it's painful to watch.
Oh, really?
I don't think it's a fun game to watch. No, maybe other people would disagree. Because it is like interesting, like the skill aspect of it, which I did not possess. So me just dying every 4 seconds, I feel like would have been painful.
I don't know. I just liked watching people play games.
No, fair.
Like, this is fun. Because I have such younger sibling energy, like peak. I have to watch my older sibling play a single player game kind of energy over here. Yeah. And so, I just really enjoy watching games. Yeah. That's where I come from. So it made sense.
That's so interesting that you've kind of gone more I prefer watching games thing because of your older sibling kind of, would you say, monopolizing? Yeah. The game consoles, whereas I went the polar opposite, that I struggle to watch people play games because my brother tended to be the one to get a priority on video games because, he owned them. Ugh. He bought it with his own money because he's 10 years older than me. He monopolized the TV. That's a strong word. Monopolize is a strong word because my parents were like, don't hog the TV, and they were very good about that. So, and thank you, parents. But I always wanted to be the one playing, and so when I got the opportunity to consistently be the one playing, I was just like, yes, it's mine. I can do it. I can play the things instead of just viewing them. And so I feel like I went in a completely opposite direction.
I think another important aspect to this is that I'm a scaredy cat.
Oh, yeah.
And I also just don't like when other people watch me play games because I get, like, almost anxiety of being behind the driver's seat,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I get stage fright. I'm like, oh, you're going to judge me because I'm bad at combat or something.
Yeah. Which brings me kind of to the next, like, thing that really stands out to me is there's one game that you don't mind that people watch.
Oh, yeah, because everybody else is so bad at playing it. It's Pokemon Snap.
Okay, harsh.
It's true.
I'm not allowed to play that game in front of you.
No, you can't. It makes me mad.
Yeah.
Because, like, okay, I've seen countless people play Pokemon Snap, and I can't watch blind playthroughs of it.
And to be clear, the original N64 Pokemon Snap, not new Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, not that one. That one I'm frankly kind of bad at.
Okay, that's also an overstatement.
Well, you know, I'm not as good as I am with the 64 version.
You can't speedrun this one.
Well, fine. Yeah. But I remember your roommate, Tyler, he got a N64. He brought it because he just had one. Or maybe he bought it. I don't remember.
No, he had one. He brought it to your dorm room, and then I think it was like right before Thanksgiving or something, and we were going to go home for break anyway. And I went, okay, that's cool. I'll bring in games because I have a bunch of N64 games. And so I got a whole bunch, and I brought them in, and the first day back from break, I was like, we have to play Pokemon Snap. Like, don't worry, it'll only take a couple minutes. Yeah.
Just give me a half hour of your time, you know?
Yeah.
And so then I put it in, and you and Tyler just watched me crank through that game and then get the high score on Mew. Yeah. And Tyler's brain broke, I think.
Yeah, as did mine. Because I was just like, what is happening? Because you were like doing all these speedy tricks and you were explaining everything you were doing, like step by step throughout the entirety of the process. And I was just like, what is happening? Like, what world are we in right now? Because like usually you wouldn't want to play games, or that was the first time I'd really seen you actively play a game that wasn't like a party game, like a Mario Kart or like a Mario Party or something like that. And so I was just like, what? Why is she a elite gamer? Like,
and like, to be clear, I couldn't end up on like a leaderboard of any kind with Pokemon Snap. I'm just faster than the average person.
Well, I mean, that faster than the average person is better than I am at any game, you know? And so, no, it was mind-boggling to me.
And that N64 also served us very well, because that's when we started doing kind of like switch-off Zelda gameplay.
Yes! Because there are dungeons that you adore. You know pretty much all of Ocarina of Time, like the back of your hand.
Yes, but there are a few dungeons that I just don't jive very well with. Yeah. Like, I don't like the Shadow or the Spirit Temple that much. Like, I appreciate them for what they are, but I'm not combat girly. I don't want to do them.
And you had me do, I think I did Dodongo's Cavern. And then I did the Forest Temple, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Shadow and Spirit.
Yes.
And then you did all of the other dungeons and most everything in between, barring the well.
Yeah, I didn't like the well either.
Yeah.
It's spooky. Spooky scary.
Yes. Also, if you hear meows in the background of this recording, it's because our cat is not allowed in the recording room.
Yeah, she's very needy. But anyways, I don't like any of the spooky scary stuff. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, that was really, really fun. And then I think that it ended up serving us really well with like switching off gameplay in Ocarina of Time, because then by the time Breath of the Wild came out, we ended up doing, I think it was your senior year though. Yeah. We did Breath of the Wild split Joy-Con.
Yes.
That was very fun.
Yes, we did. Yes, it was very fun. We didn't play it super far in. But I feel like that was a test of our communication skills as a couple at that point.
Yeah. I mean, because we both play games so differently. And so if you're unfamiliar with the idea of split Joy-Con, basically, you know, the Joy-Cons, they're two separate things. You hold one in each hand if you were to play that way, instead of hooking them into the little controller holder that you can have. Yeah. And so we each took one Joy-Con so we could control half of the buttons.
Yeah. And so you were in charge of movement and changing weapons.
Yes.
And I was in charge of locking on combat and camera.
Yeah.
And you like to run from things. I like to fight things. And so sometimes we'd be like mid-combat encounter and Link would just start fleeing And I'd be like, no, but we were still locked on. So the camera was still trained on these bokoblins just like hurtling after us.
Yeah.
So we got off the Great Plateau.
We did. And then we got a bunch of stamina stuff and I cooked a bunch of meals.
Yeah, because we did a bunch of temples, or shrines, I should say. And you made a lot of food. We gathered a lot of resources. And then we straight beelined it to get Zelda's horse.
Yes.
In that great plain area.
Yeah, by Satori Mountain.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And just the sheer fact alone that we were able to get that horse relatively early on, I think that we could have gone a lot further in that game if we had wanted to.
Yeah, we really could have.
But I think the reason we stopped ultimately was like we hit spring break or something, or like Thanksgiving. I don't remember what time of year it was when we were actually we hit some break and just lost all momentum and had to relearn how to play it after the fact. And then it was just like, the fun is not gone, but we're not in the easy zone where we could kind of get our footing anymore.
Yeah. It also didn't help that you were about to graduate, and I was, I don't know, very much of the mindset of, no, I want to go out and experience things with you. We have the rest of our lives to play Breath of the Wild, but like, I want to experience college things with you.
Yeah. And I think I was in the same mindset. And that year was a bad health year for me.
Yeah.
I had like multiple surgeries that I needed done. Mm-hmm. I think I needed multiple. No, I needed one surgery. And then I had a kidney stone.
Isn't that the best?
While I was applying to grad school, and I was actively interviewing for grad schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very stressful time in my life. Mm-hmm. So I feel like my time was a lot more dedicated to those kinds of things. And then if we did play and like just experiencing, like you said, college together, I think that was really much more of our focus at the time. And when we did want to play games, it was more chill JRPGs as opposed to hyper intense, hyper communicative, challenging gameplay.
Yeah, definitely. I remember, well, there was one JRPG that I think kind of sealed the deal for a relationship early on that I'm now thinking of, which was Xenoblade Chronicles on the Wii.
Yes.
Because I think you knew that I liked JRPGs when we first started dating. I'd mentioned it.
Yeah, like we had talked about games, like more niche games, like The World Ends With You, because I got that on the DS at some point.
Oh, no, that was even after. That was after Xenoblade.
No, I don't think so. I think it was briefly before that before we actually started playing. You had mentioned Xenoblade beforehand, but we didn't start playing until after.
Really?
Yeah.
My timeline is fuzzy. But I just remember bringing the Wii copy of Xenoblade, and we put it in, and you're like, that's so crazy. It's a JRPG I've never heard of before. This is nuts. Yeah. And then we started playing, and we're like, why does this have such a compelling story? Yes,
but
we got stuck.
The story was compelling. We didn't get super far because I was the one playing, and I loathed the gameplay more than anything.
Yeah, it didn't get very far.
Yeah, I just really hated playing it. Like, I loved the story, I loved the characters. That aspect was compelling, but the gameplay was not it on the Wii.
No, but it's okay, because we did eventually end up loving Xenoblade, and you've now played all 3 different Xenoblade Chronicles games.
The definitive edition is just that on the Switch, very definitive. Mm-hmm. And so I learned to love the combat through that game, and just the updated visuals and everything, like everything just clicked for me a lot better. I would say gameplay wise, it's still my least favorite of the 3. But you introducing me to that game where it was just like, wow, this is a spectacular Like, this is a spectacular narrative and journey we're going on. And the beginning of that game in particular is one of the most striking.
Yeah. They really get you in the beginning.
They do hook you. They hook you really well. And so I think you sharing that with me, I was like, okay, now we can start sharing, like, JRPGs together. And since then, you know, like, we've played Chrono Cross together. You got it for me for the PlayStation 1, because that was a game that was very important to you during your childhood.
Heck yeah, it was. I love that game. And that soundtrack, oh my gosh. I gotta go listen to the soundtrack again now.
Chef's kiss. Absolute chef's kiss. And then I shared, different, over time, this isn't all during college, but, like, I've shared Kingdom Hearts with you and, like, different Final Fantasies. You shared Final Fantasy 8 with me.
Yes.
But I shared a lot of the other ones with you.
And I bought you a lot of them, even though you already knew that you would like them. But I got you, it was some big collector's pack or something of them.
It had 5 and 6 in it.
And didn't I get you 9?
Yes, and you got 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, the collector's pack had 5 and 6 in it, and maybe something else. I'm looking at our shelf behind us. I think it's just 5 and 6. And then you got me 8 and 9 as well. Mm-hmm. All for the PlayStation 1, because I had a PlayStation 2 in the dorm room at the time that I liked playing games on, because I really, like, PS2 is one of, well, not a very hot take, but one of my favorite console generations, just for nostalgia's sake.
Mm-hmm. You and everybody else.
No, yeah. It's, especially for JRPGs, it's just like, oh, you like the PlayStation 1 and 2? Join the club.
Yeah.
Peak time for Squaresoft and Square Enix.
Yep.
But yeah. And then I think something else, we talked about wanting to go and experience life. Mm-hmm. We've talked about this before, but the summer of Pokemon Go,
so magical,
was a magical time. Getting to go to all of these different towns and, like, cities, and traveling to like experience Pokemon Go when it came out. And it was a glitchy mess, but, like, we would travel with friends to places. We would go out at night to see if, are there different Pokemon at night versus during the day? Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like that one, like, coordinating our trips was so, I don't know, that it's such a memory that stands out to me, like, in our relationship, how we would spend typically the summers.
Yeah. And I think it also was really great for me because it was right when we had just started dating that happened. That was the summer of 2016. And it was right when I had first really gotten some good, like, alone time with your sister and your brother-in-law.
Yeah, because that was the second, if it was the summer of 2016, that was the second summer we were dating. So
first summer.
No, because we started dating in
2015.
No, you're right. You're right.
Look at you and your calendar skills. They're bad. But
yes, you're right. You're right.
So to give a little more context here on how I know this so intensely.
You're also much better with dates than I am.
Well, yeah, but so we volunteer at a summer camp.
Yes.
Pretty regularly, like every year, just about. And you've been going for, like, most of your life. So I think all of the summers kind of blend together for you. But the summer of Pokemon Go was my first summer at that camp. And that's why I remember it so intensely. And your brother-in-law was there, and we got to get him on the podcast.
We do.
I
feel like he'd be spectacular.
Guest TBD.
Yeah. But Mike, if you're listening to this, I don't know if you listen to this, but if you are, I'll text you.
But Mike was there, and I remember it being like, it wasn't the first time I hung out with him, because we had spent, like, a couple times together before, but, like, nothing like
family
this.
Reunions, like, real in passing.
Yeah, we, like, hung out once at, like, an Olive Garden or something. Yeah. And, but it was nothing that deep. This was, like, a week-long camp experience, you know? Yeah. And so we're all hanging out and he's excited about Pokemon Go. And I was just so stoked that I had something to talk to him about.
Yeah.
And then I could get close with your family members and be like, yeah, we caught this, we caught that. Your sister didn't know what any of the Pokemon were. She's calling Weedle Weebly and she's
like... but she was in it.
She was in it too.
Which she should have known because she was real into Pokemon growing up. I recall she had a whole binder of Pokemon cards.
Oh my gosh. Come on, Megan.
Come on. No, but she's great. I love my sister. She's the best. But so unforgivable that you would call Weedle Weebly. But no, yeah, I guess you're right. That was like the first time that you really kind of got to know and spend any real amount of time, like getting to know my family. Because like you say yourself, like those summers kind of blend together to me because I've been so familiar with it. And I'm like, I've known my brother-in-law longer in my life than I haven't known him.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy to think about.
Yeah. But that was my first summer camp. And it also was so important to your family and to you. And so it was just like this crazy moment that all was summed up very well in Pokemon Go, I feel. Like just that whole milestone of our relationship.
Yeah.
Of, I don't know, getting to know the family is really important. And
oh, yeah, definitely.
Things that, and just seeing you in a different environment because you were a camp counselor and like running things and talking to kids and like seeing how you interacted outside of school and outside of your hometown and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just really cool.
And it was cool to see how you kind of integrated so seamlessly into that environment because you had never been like a camp counselor. You had never even been to summer camp.
No, I always wanted to go.
Yeah, and so you diving headfirst as like in a position of authority, with these kids, it was cool to see how you kind of like developed into that and you hit the ground running so well. Anyone looking at you would have been like, she's been coming forever. Forever. And having that all underscored by everyone having their phones out, being like, there's an Oddish over there.
Yeah.
Like, it's just an Oddish. Like, Spearow was the hot commodity at the time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Throw back. And then I do have to note that I did unfortunately stop playing Pokemon Go not too long after.
Yes.
Disastrous times. I was the first person in our entire network of friends, everyone, friends, family, everybody, to find a Dragonite.
Yes.
I found the Dragonite at the end of a street, and it was dark, and I lived in not a great neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I asked my dad to stand outside and watch me run to the end of the street to make sure I didn't get like kidnapped or something. And I'm running in my house slippers. I'm running down the street to go catch this Dragonite that I can see is down there. I get there, I open it up, Dragonite appears. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is insane.
This is your moment.
This is my moment. I go to throw a Pokeball, the whole app crashes. Then it's down for network problems and like server maintenance. It all happened at the same time because everybody remembers how bad the servers were at that time. Yeah. It was terrible.
Crashing frequently.
Then I was like, it's okay. Get back on the horse. It's okay. It happens to everybody. And then you got a Dragonite.
Look, I wasn't going to deny it.
I wouldn't have wanted you to. But however, I did get very, very, very jealous, and I did stop playing Pokemon Go and never opened it ever again.
Can we? Yeah, I apologize.
It's okay.
Killing your joy.
It's okay.
Can we talk about? I'm sorry, I'm tangenting just for a moment. Just for a moment, we'll loop back. But Pokemon Go right now, right? I'm kind of bitter about it. I love Gen 8.
Okay.
It's not a secret. I love Gen 8. They skipped entirely the Gen 8 starters. They have the Gen 9 starters. They just added the Gen 9 starters at time of recording to this game. I don't see Scorbunny. I don't see the Grookmeister.
Oh my god.
I don't see my little Sobby boy. Ew, I don't like Sobble. Let's just stick with Sobble. I don't see them anywhere. But we have Fuecoco. I love Fuecoco. I'm not mad about that one. But we have Quaxley before Scorbunny Disgusting. Shame. Shame, Niantic. Shame, Game Freak. Sorry, I don't. I recently got back into Pokemon Go, and for some like projects we're working on, and I was like really invested, and it just feels like another slap in the face. I feel like Pokemon Go of all games, it consistently slaps people in the face, and I don't appreciate it.
And you just keep going back.
My cheeks are sore, but I can't stop.
Oh my god.
Anyways.
Which cheeks?
On my face, to clarify, on my face. My face cheeks are sore from being slapped across the face. Anyways, so also in the summer we played Stardew Valley together.
We did. Okay, this is the part where it's important to note that we lived like a 4-hour round trip away from each other.
Yeah, so 2 hours there, 2 hours back.
Yeah.
And at the time you could not drive.
No, I couldn't drive. I was too scared of everything.
Yeah, so if we wanted to hang out, I would either need to go down to you, which is typically what happened, but if you ever wanted to come up to me, I would still have to go down to you, and then you would have to like stay over at my parents' house for the weekend, because then it would have been an 8-hour round trip.
Yikes.
Which we did do sometimes.
Yeah, we did.
Which was fine. Like, I feel like more podcasts. If cars were not terrible for audio quality, I feel like cars would be an incredible place to do a podcast. Because I feel like conversation just moves so naturally in a car. Mm-hmm. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think everything sounds better in a car.
Yeah.
But like also it kind of plays with your brain, because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm singing in the car and I'm so good at singing. And then you sing anywhere else and you're like, maybe I'm only good in the car.
Yeah.
And so I think it's one of those little brain worms that you got where it's like, oh my gosh, right now, if I was recording a podcast in this car right now, I would be genius. But I bet if I went back and listened to myself talk in a car, I'd be like, nah, I'm dumb.
No, I disagree. I disagree strongly with this. I disagree strongly, right? Because I feel like it's the forward movement, like the forward momentum that kind of helps ideas continue to come. Because when you, like how we are set up right now, we are sitting in 2 office chairs, looking at each other with a microphone in between us. That's painting the picture of what our setup is right now, right? Mm-hmm. But we're stagnant. We're just sitting here, you know? I think conversation's flowing, but imagine if we were walking or driving a car, we'd be constantly moving forward, and that forward momentum would also kind of spur our brains to move as well.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that. Because I am a big believer in forward momentum.
Yes.
When you're, like, thinking about something. So if I ever need to noodle on something, I'm like, ooh, gotta think real tough and hard about this.
Noodle
then I just go
something.
for it. Yeah, I like saying noodling. My little noodle.
Yeah.
I got a noodle on it.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, fair enough.
I bring all the little guy energy to work. I'm like, yeah, guys, I don't know. Let me noodle on that.
Yeah.
But
I'll get back to you in a bit.
Let me go noodle on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I need to go think of something, then I'll go on a walk. And I feel like that forward momentum really helps.
No,
my brains.
I agree profoundly. And to be fair, there's some psychological backing in. Anyways.
Okay, Mr. Master's degree.
Okay. Stardew.
Oh, whoa. Okay, yeah.
Stardew.
So we lived very far away from one another, or at least it was hard enough to hang out that it didn't make sense to do it every day. So therefore, that meant that if we wanted to be able to talk very frequently, like we wanted to as every new couple, or even like...
At the time, it kind of persisted throughout like the course of 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So
true.
like new couple, existing couple, we talked frequently, almost every day during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, and we would just play Stardew Valley multiplayer.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and I know that you had watched me play Stardew Valley, I think, my freshman year, sophomore year, but I think that's when it was. And I would bring over my whole freaking laptop into your dorm room, and I'd just sit there, like, with my charger plugged in. My fan is going, like, 1,000,000 degrees. It's so hot, like, heating up my whole lap. And then I brought my little mouse because I was elite gamer, you know. I wasn't going to play with my trackpad.
Oh,
Ugh,
no.
Disgusting.
Ugh, Gross.
So I'm over here playing Stardew Valley on your bed, and then you guys are all sitting on the floor and playing like Dungeons and Dragons or some board game or something. Yeah. And that's how our relationship would start. And then eventually multiplayer came out, which was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, you are getting Stardew Valley and we are playing this together.
It was a tough sell for me.
I know, you didn't really like the pixel art.
I did not like the pixel art at all. It has since grown on me and I love it very much now. But at the time, because I was a Harvest Moon boyo, or Story of Seasons as it is now known.
I mean, so was I, but...
Well, yeah, but like I was, at the time, I've never been like super graphics focused. But I know when I like the look of something and I know when I don't. I think, hot take, I think the new Call of Duties, for example, graphical fidelity, incredible, right? Undeniable. I think they're the most disgusting looking games known to man.
That's like, a hot take.
I think they look so bad. They're so bland. Like, gray.
You're like, millennial gray, I don't want to see it.
Yes, no, I can't do it. Same with, I really don't like hyper-realistic games, really, is what I think it comes down to. The new Assassin's Creed. I don't even like the look of more colorful games like Horizon Zero Dawn. I think they all look kind of bad, because it hits the uncanny valley in my brain so wrong. Like, Zelda... It's cartoony. Like, there's that degree of separation in my brain. Even with the more hyper-realistic, like, Final Fantasy 16 or Final Fantasy 7 Remake, look, it's much more high fidelity, but let's be honest, Clive's an anime boy. Cloud's an anime boy. There's no denying it. That's not how people look.
Yeah.
Like,
no one's jaw looks like that.
Yeah. That's not how humans in the real world look. It's just not. You know? And they're not trying to make it as such. It looks great. It looks gorgeous, you know? It's not how people look though. But like games like, you know, a good recent example, Starfield, right?
Okay.
It's not how people look.
Yeah. I
mean, to be fair, there are aliens in that game, I believe. But, you know...
that's definitely not how people look.
No, 100%. But I don't know. That is my... But sometimes I do snap judge games based on how they look if I just don't vibe with the appearance. And that's what I did with Stardew. And I was sorely mistaken, which is why you can't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah. And you also discovered through Stardew that I am insane. And that
you like yourself a good list.
I love lists. I always try to complete the community center within the first year of the game.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say I bossed you around, because I don't think I did. But no. I was very happy that you like to do everything that I didn't like to do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really like, you know, I've said this a few times. I don't like combat. So I didn't really like going to the caves. Yeah. That wasn't my thing. The mines, I don't know. I didn't go there. I was fishing. So, and you didn't like fishing. So we just kind of traded. And you would do all of those things that I didn't like. I would do all the things that I liked.
Yeah.
And then I would say, okay, before you put anything in that shipping bin, give me this many slime things, give me this many bat wings, you know, give me all this stuff. We're putting it in the community center. I gotta check it off of our to-do list.
And then making the farm was pretty 50-50, but I feel like I was almost more invested in, like, farmifying our area.
You wanted to have a blueberry empire.
Oh, and I did. Not in our save file, but, like, when we played with friends, I did have a blueberry empire. I had... Because we had the 4 quadrants map, and my entire quadrant was just blueberries, and I was wealthy. And then in the fall, the cranberry empire.
Yeah.
Oh.
You just went all out.
I love the berries. Mm-hmm. I love the berries, because you get so many, and they sell they sell pretty well. So I'm just, like, wealthy. And then you're like, I need a cucumber. I'm like, plant 1. This isn't optimal. And I don't even know if the Blueberry Empire was optimal, but it's what I did.
You were the Blueberry King.
Yeah, until we started getting, like, Starfruit.
Very true, very true.
Yeah, and then, you know, COVID struck.
Yeah, but it was okay. because we had Animal Crossing to get us through at the beginning.
Yeah.
through all of the COVID depression.
Yeah. And then shortly after COVID, once like a lot of the, I know that even still, there are still restrictions, but like when things started lifting, right, we got married, and I feel like living together has, I feel like we share most every experience to some degree now, like whether it's games or like rarely do we play games like separately, I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, there, it happens. Like, sometimes I'll play, like, what's a game I play that you're just like, no me gusta.
I'm trying to think. I didn't really watch you do anything with Persona 3.
Yeah.
When you played that.
Yeah. And same with, like, you were, like, in and out of Pikmin, so, like, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, a lot of the games we played together and experienced together, because you like watching, I like playing. Perfect union, so that we can like theory craft together. And a big one was both of the Nier games.
Oh my gosh, what a time. The first Nier game that we played was Nier Automata or Automata, depending on who you ask, but we're Automata truthers. Let us live with our pronunciation.
So I will be saying Automata. And I apologize that I know that it's wrong, I believe, strictly speaking, but Automata.
And so we got married, and you had just graduated from graduate school.
Yes.
And you were looking for a job. And then I remembered you getting Nier Automata for your birthday. And I was like,
a year before.
And once you unwrapped it, I was like, you can't play it. You can't play it until we're married, and I can watch you play it every day.
Yeah. So I waited.
You waited. And then the time felt right for me. I was like, let's do it. Let's play it. It's going to be fun. Like, let's hang out and do it. And I think that Nier Automata and playing it at that time when you were like frantically looking for a job.
Very stressful. Like, the job search.
Oh, my gosh.
I remember I would apply to 3 jobs so I got my degree in clinical mental health counseling, but I had a focus in school counseling. And so I was kind of more interested in going into, like, a K-12 environment. At the time, I had kind of realized, mental health counseling, it's just not quite for me. And I'm under the mindset that if you're not fully sold on being a mental health counselor, you probably shouldn't do it, because then you're working with people. If you're not able to give 110% to do your job to help the people you want to support, then you're doing them a disservice. And you don't, in that context, when you're dealing with people's mental health, you don't want to do them a disservice, right? And so I was looking for jobs, applying to like 3 a day. And I was just desperate for even just an interview or even just a callback, like it's an audition, but like for a call. And we started playing that game in this very anxious time in my life where I didn't know what the future held at all. I didn't know whether I would get a job next week or in a year, And, these school districts, I wasn't even positive I wanted to go into a K-12 environment because I didn't have great internship experiences with that, because the school system in America is so good. Mm-hmm. I would describe the experience with Nier Automata as liminal.
It was so liminal, and we would turn off most of the lights, and I remember just, like, laying down on the couch and watching you play, and some parts of that game like haunted me.
It didn't help that our apartment, because we were newly married at the time, was still kind of echoey.
Oh my gosh, it was.
And not fully furnished. We had our couch, we had like the essentials, but it was a mostly empty room with our TV, and we were just like watching this TV as these kind of like somewhat, I wouldn't call it a disturbing game, but like very existential in nature, and like some perturbing things happen throughout the game. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, I don't know why I exist. Do I exist to work? Like, who am I? Like, it made me very reflective and introspective at a time when, honestly, probably didn't need that.
No, that game hit unlike any other game I have ever experienced in my life.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I love it. I really do. I'm glad we played it. And I'm almost glad that we played it at that time, because I don't think it would have hit the same way if I wasn't in such a transitional time in my life.
Yeah, actually true.
You know? Like, but I think because we were so deep in transition, like me with like work and you with like both of us were in this new space and like learning how to live together, because we'd never like lived together before, you know, it was, I don't know, it was very, very interesting. It gave me some nightmares.
Me too. Do you remember we had to stop playing like an hour before bed at the very least if we didn't want to get nightmares?
Yeah, and it would mess up my entire day sometimes the next day. But then we'd start playing it the second you got back from work again.
Yep.
But no, super, super weird. And then we finished that game, took a break. We then played Nier Replicant.
Yes. Do you remember when we started playing Nier Replicant?
No. Right when we got the cats, right?
No, it wasn't right when we got the cats. It's when we got the cats neutered.
Yes!
And so we got our cats neutered, and our vet was saying that we had to keep them in an enclosed space and try to make sure that they didn't jump. And so we would...
Oh my gosh, yes!
Yep. Oh. It all comes back. I don't understand why we did this to ourselves. I don't understand why the Nier games just... They do something to our psyche that is just unlike any other game. But we had to keep the cats in our bedroom, and so then that meant that we also had to stay in our bedroom and watch them.
Yeah, to make sure that they weren't, like, accidentally, like, jumping on things that they shouldn't or hurting themselves, and we had to move a lot of the stuff out of our bedroom that could potentially, like, if they rubbed up against it, like, hurt their stitches, and, like, yeah, so we were confined to that small room because we couldn't leave them alone, so we were, like, working from home, too, and, like, maybe that was excessive, but I feel very good about it. They because they are hyperactive little kitties.
Yes, our cats, I don't understand what is up with them, but they're jumping bean machines. Like they're a lot, and we really had to keep an eye on one of the kittens. I can't remember. I think it was Pocky. Yeah, she had some funky stitches going on.
Which we made sure, like, we got cleared that they were okay, but, like, we were still concerned just because, like...
She was the jumpy one, and she was the one that was, like, doing things that arguably could have hurt herself.
Yeah, her stitches just weren't as neat and perfect. Mm-hmm. Toffee's were pretty perfect, but Pocky's were not.
Yeah.
But they were fine, overall. But better safe than sorry, and so we couldn't leave them alone because we're also new pet owners. Like, I've had pets growing up, but like I never had to deal with that before.
I've never had a pet except for like hamsters.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we were confined to that room and we played Nier Replicant, and it also made me go insane. So, you know, in a way, both Nier games and the situations that surrounded them while playing them made me go a little stir crazy.
Yes. Ultimately loved that game as well. Oh my
God, yeah.
Like, with all of my soul. I think I like Replicant way more than Automata. Like, personally. But, yeah. And we've played loads of games together since then. Like, Fire Emblem Three Houses was a big one.
Yeah.
Like, we're playing through Kingdom Hearts right now. Thank you.
You're welcome. But do you know which one stands out to me weirdly above all the other ones? I don't think that you would ever guess that I would say this.
Trying to think. So I don't Xenoblade 3.
I mean, Xenoblade 3 was really great, but this is I'm not saying that I like this game more than Xenoblade 3 because I think that's one of my top 5 games.
Just in general,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, but like when it comes to our relationship, I feel like Psychonauts 2 was a really big one.
Yeah, I think, hot take, this changes every 5 minutes, but I think Psychonauts 2 is a top 3 game for me, like, of all time.
Top 3?
At least top 5.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, no, I can buy that.
But potentially, it fluctuates into the top 3, I think.
Wow.
But wait, so, okay, explain.
So, for our relationship, we've had the YouTube channel and everything going on, and you had started that. You started while we were in college, but you didn't really start posting, like, consistently and also get views, and also I was involved, hence the views.
Yes.
Because marketing brain.
Because truly, I didn't know how to market the channel or create good thumbnails or, like, do any of the things to get eyes on the videos. And the content, let's be fair here, was not that good until the pandemic hit and you got involved with the channel. Yeah,
it was, that was 2020. And you had 123 subscribers. I remember this very vividly because I thought 123 was really funny.
Yes.
And we had been talking about the channel and what you wanted to do with it. And some slight background on me if you're unfamiliar. I work in the games industry on the marketing and graphic design side.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you talk about video games. I know how to market things in video games. Like, this is my realm. Let me be involved. Please just give me 1 week.
Yeah.
And, like, let me make some thumbnails for you, restructure some titles. Like, let me just try some stuff out. I thought it would be really, really fun to make it like a joint couple project.
Yeah.
And so then we did that, and we did some anime stuff with, like, Fruits Basket. That was our first venture into podcasting.
Yeah.
But then you started making those reaction videos to Persona 5.
Which the first counseling student reacts video, I reacted to Dr. Maruki from Persona 5's counseling sessions to see, like, what was good, what was bad. It was lucky that I think that you took over for marketing. That was the first video on the channel that I can look back on and still be like, no, I'm still pretty content with how that turned out. Mm-hmm. So I feel like things culminated in a really good way where you took over by the time I had kind of gone through those growing pains of hyper cringy content where I can say that with love of those old videos where I didn't know what I was trying to do or what I was trying to say. And those counseling student reacts and the Fruits Basket podcast, that was the first time, like, we both, and I personally for the Persona stuff, actually had, like, a vision of what I wanted it to be.
Yeah. And so you would think that because that was when I first started to get involved with the channel, that I would view Persona 5 Royal specifically as being some monumental game for our relationship. But no, because I didn't watch you play that one.
Yeah.
I watched the anime on my own. I watched some gameplay footage, but that's a long game. And you were playing that.
It's just a light 110, 120 hour game.
Oh, yeah. Super easy.
You know, whatever.
Get through it in a weekend. Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But no, like, I didn't watch you play that one. And so I wasn't as close to it.
Yeah.
But then when we got married and we're living together and, you know, you're, like, playing all the games right in front of me and I could just sit there in the comfort of our own home and watch you play stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't watch you play the first Psychonauts because you played that on your own.
Yeah.
But when Psychonauts 2 came out, I was there as you purchased it digitally and then downloaded it and then pulled it up for the first time. And I remember thinking, just like you with Stardew, like, I don't really know how I feel about this art style.
No, because it's very strange.
Yeah, and so I was like, this will exist on the background when I'm watching TikToks on my phone or something.
Yeah.
And then I just kept getting sucked into the story.
Yeah.
And I was just more and more interested until eventually I was begging you to start playing the second that we had finished eating dinner. You're like, do you want to watch YouTube? Do you want to hang out tonight? I'm like, no, I want to watch you play Psychonauts 2. Let's pull it up. Let's go.
Yeah.
And then you got really inspired because of it and started making more content. And it was one of the first times that there were big videos that you were planning.
Yeah.
Like those psychology videos where I could actually give you some insight on, like, oh, art style and hey, I work in game dev, so, like, here's some game dev things.
Yeah.
And, like, give you background. And then at that point, I'd already known about, like, GDC and all the different talks. And I'm like, why don't you listen to Lizette talk about the art direction?
Yeah.
And I was so interested in Double Fine as a company and just everything. It all just culminated so well for me, where I was like, oh, this is such a good moment for our relationship, where, like, you're doing all this really cool stuff, and I know about it from my angle, too, and we can work together.
Yeah.
And I only took part in, like, maybe 5% of any of those, like, all of the videos put together, but I still, like, that 5% and making those thumbnails and all
it
of
was,
that.
like, truly helpful. And without that, like, you know, I think I needed some of that, like, context and, you know, background to, like, help with, because I'm very proud of, like, those Psychonauts videos, and it's a game I care very deeply about, you know, of course. And so hearing, like, I don't know, it's nice, because I guess I didn't even really think about how much of an impact that game had on your, like, perspective on the involvement with the channel, because in my mind, like, you know, we're 50-50 on it, you know? But seeing that be a turning point where, like, I do primarily do the scripting of, like, the psychology of, or the genius of videos, but that is, now that you say it, like, when you start ramping up in involvement and, like, giving me, like, leads on good information that's like, oh yeah, this is really cool, like, thank you. So no, that makes a lot of sense. And it like it was cool seeing you go from, like, oh, this is interesting, but, like, it's very Invader Zim.
Yeah.
You know, almost like that kind of grungy art style.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's one of those heavily stylized things, and if you don't get why it's stylized, then at first it's kind of off-putting.
Yeah.
But then once you get it, you're like, oh, wait, no, I get it now. Yes. Okay.
And it works so well for the game and what it's trying to do. That,
exactly.
Like, I think it's one of the most beautiful games I've played. Like, just in general, like, both the first and the second for, like, the hardware that they're on. Just because they're so unique.
I think that art style thematically is very important.
Yeah.
Overall, like you were saying with the hyper-realistic games, when something is hyper-realistic, like, yeah, sure, I understand if it's a war game or something like that, where, okay, yeah, you want me to understand the brutal realities of war. I understand. But, like, I don't know.
I just
don't. That just doesn't appeal to me. But I understand that thematically they're kind of matching that. But in the same way, if you're playing something that is as stylized and as interesting as a story as Psychonauts, then like, you would need the art style to be just as stylized and unique as the type of story that they're trying to tell. And especially for all of those darker moments and things where it's like thoughts that you don't want to have, and like the deepest innermost crevices of your brain, and like trying to, I don't know, like metaphorically show that in different ways, in kind of, I don't know, like imaginative ways that they do. I'm thinking about Ford specifically, just like the nonsense that happens in Ford's brain.
Yeah.
You need that art style.
Yeah. And I think that it was a lot easier. I only have a couple videos on the first Psychonauts. You know, the Milkman one is the thing that kind of kicked this all off, because I thought that video was a flop when that came out. You know, someone in a YouTube comment had said, you should play Psychonauts. I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't know what that is. And that was kind of, I made that video. I was happy with it. It flopped, but then it got really popular around the time Psychonauts 2 stuff was ramping up. I think I was better able to interpret the worlds and like connect with the worlds because I had you to bounce ideas off of for those. Like, I was able to talk it out with someone who actually understood, because I probably could have talked to you about the Milkman conspiracy, but you hadn't experienced it, so I would have just been throwing words at you and you being like, cool, great, you know? Just because, you know, without understanding these very surreal worlds, like, how could you?
Yeah.
You know? But because you experienced it with me in real time and we could talk about it in real time, it helped me materialize my ideas and put them into words so much more easily for these Psychonauts 2 worlds. And so that was like so I 100% see that.
Yeah, that was a big moment for me where I like us working together as a team on things.
Yes.
And that was one of the moments where that game helped me work with you as a team on the channel. And it started to feel less like, oh, I do thumbnails for your channel. And it's more like, oh, this is our channel.
Yes.
Yeah.
We should do a podcast.
Oh my gosh, we should.
Whoa. That'd be so cool. I feel like that's never a good thing. Like when someone's like, yo, we should do a podcast.
Yeah. Look at us.
Look at us now. Season 2.
Cute.
But I feel like we could talk for like 3 more hours about like going into the nuances with absolutely every game we've played and kind of our experiences together. Is there anything else that you specifically like wanted to highlight or touch on?
I don't think so. You let me talk about Psychonauts forever, so.
I mean, darn. We only own 3 copies of the original and 3 copies of Psychonauts 2.
That's a good point.
We hate talking about it. Then I think that's what we've got for this week.
Yeah. Do you want to tease the next one?
I think we should keep it under the vest, but we will have a pretty awesome guest next week. So, if you're interested in making sure that you get all of the updates, make sure to follow us both on Twitter. Make sure to join the Discord server. And if you want to hear more content like this coming from us, feel free to support us on Patreon if you want, but no obligation to. Give us 5 stars, though. Definitely, wherever you're listening to us on, give us a like, give us 5 stars, leave us a review. It helps so much more than you could ever imagine. So if you enjoyed it, please help us out with that. But other than that, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, a fantastic rest of your week, and why even a fantastic rest of your month. And we will see you next week. Later.
See ya.